So normally I don't want to go this long without uploading, so my excuse is that Fortnite events are absolutely ass.
Fortnite only did this event just to plug their metaverse. This sucked. This honest to God sucked.
Now, CliffSide, a small animated pilot set in the Wild West and made by our favorite guy here, Liam Vickers. Overall, I'd say this is a very well animated pilot by Liam, besides that other show. And I really like how Liam just doesn't give two shits about the writing and made this pilot very self-aware. Anyways, with that all out of the way, time to explain CliffSide in the dumbest way possible. We start off with the opening shot of the town of CliffSide, and a voiceover by one of the main characters, Waylon, or as he calls himself, 2-Bit Jerry, who is voiced by Liam. We then see a Wendigo walking into the town and people running. Waylon continues his voiceover and he points his gun at the Wendigo. We then see another character show up named Joe, who shows very little emotion to anything.
Scary.
Waylon shoots his gun at the Wendigo and misses. It then multiplies, so Waylon grabs Joe and dips. The two of them get surrounded and Waylon says he's out of bullets, and Joe says the same because with her double barrel, she took out the Wendigos. Weren't there Wendigos in front of Waylon as well? And why didn't we hear the gunfire? Anyways, Waylon makes a smart-ass comment and then gets jumped by the Wendigos before we cut to the title. We then see a train go by. Episode 1. Damn, I wonder what happened to the rest. We see Waylon playing with some pine cones while the two are looting a train. Joe tells Waylon that the town is surrounded by monsters, and Waylon just brushes it off, saying that he shot 50 of them in the intro. He then starts running his mouth on some stuff that he made up and throws his gun into the forest. Joe tells Waylon to stand watch, and he quickly realizes what he actually did and starts looking for his revolver. He wanders through the woods for a bit until he finds it. He tries to reach for it, but his hand gets stuck in a spider web. He frees his hand, but rolls back and ends up in more webs, and then he's abducted. Waylon wakes up to being strung up between two trees. He then notices a person just hanging out on the tree. This person brings up a claw, and a bird flies into the web. We then see this person in a slightly better view. This is Cordy. She's basically a spider-human hybrid. She tries to eat the bird, but it pecks her eye. She's then embarrassed and says that eating the bird would have been horrifying, and then she tries to eat Waylon.
I'm going to eat you now.
Waylon starts talking big, saying he shot a sheriff just because he was mad at shooting sheriffs. We quickly learn that Cordy is extremely gullible. Waylon notices his spur and starts to distract Cordy as he cut himself loose and he falls. He then hits the ground, leaving himself at 1 HP. Cordy appears behind him and compliments his escape. Then a fucking pterodactyl comes out of nowhere. This is Yanis and this is death itself. Yanis tells Cordy to hand over Waylon, but when Cordy refuses, Yanis tells Cordy to stand watch and calls her a broke bitch.
Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Waylon throws a rock at Yanis and starts defending Cordy, but then starts self-projecting his own failings on standing watch onto Cordy. Yanis grabs the two of them and starts flying up. Damn, she really doesn't give a f***. Yanis then flies above the clouds and drops the two. Cordy thanks Waylon for standing up for her and grabs him and shoots a web from... You know what? We're not going to imagine where. Anyways, the web latches onto Yanis and Cordy uses the web to break their fall. Yanis then falls from the height and dies. Cordy then starts screaming about how awesome that was and starts being a fangirl and saying that she wants to be just like Waylon. Waylon gets an ego boost and it goes straight to his head and he starts training Cordy how to be a gunslinger, almost getting his brains blown out. Cordy gets better and better until one day they pull up to a bank and rob the place. Waylon realizes that this has gone too far and people start shooting into the bank. Joe and some other people surround the place and Cordy pulls out 4 revolvers getting ready to fire. Waylon tries to talk her out of it, but Cordy is ready to take out the ops. So Joe shoots into the bank, but Cordy catches the bullet. I wonder where I've seen this before. Cordy shoots a web and detaches the door and hits it towards the ops. Joe realizes it was Waylon behind all this and becomes southern and starts asking questions. Cordy tries to defend Waylon but gets scared when Joe points a gun at her. Waylon starts explaining how he met Cordy and how they managed to kill the pterodactyl and Death. Cordy quickly corrects Waylon, saying you can't kill Death, and it takes him a minute to realize what she just said.
Wait, what?
So Death itself pulls up, and I'm gonna be real, this is the hardest scene in the entire pilot.
Don't mind me, just crossing the street. Whoop, there I go.
Cordy then shows she doesn't understand boundaries.
What just happened?
Joe asks Waylon if he learned his lesson, and he asks if they can have a standoff. So they all pull up and point their guns at Death. Death gets ready to pack them all up, and Waylon knows the only way to stop Death is to give him validation and basically call him fatherless. So if you couldn't guess what happens, Death beats the shit out of Waylon. So while he's in plenty of pain, he tells Death that if he is the sheriff, people will stop dying and he won't have to do that much work. And that's enough to convince him to be sheriff.
He didn't learn a thing.
The three of them are at a saloon celebrating their victory. Joe asks who's going to stand watch, and they immediately make Waylon do it. They then start asking questions about what happened to the original sheriff, and maybe, just maybe, Waylon did put his ass down, and the episode ends. Overall, I think this is a pretty nice pilot. Kinda sucks that it's never got a full season. From what Liam said, I guess he just couldn't be bothered to animate more episodes of it. Now, like I said earlier in the video, Liam did not give two f***s about the writing and broke the fourth wall way too many times.
Background street crosser! Watch out! Yeah, what do you mean? I shot like 50 in the intro sequence.
Nothing suspicious about mentioning that, specifically.
Whoa, montages are dangerous. Therefore, the moral of this episode is if you validate someone enough, you can manipulate them into doing whatever you say.
The music in this pilot fits really well with the overall theme of the show, with some Western music mixed with some electronic music. And honestly, I can listen to this track for a long time and not get bored. Also, did I mention this is a university project? Anyways, if you did enjoy the video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.